December, we will celebrate or commemorate the 10-year passing of our beloved Nelson Mandela. And he said on the 22nd of June 1990, he stood in front of United Nations and he said, and I quote, "It will be forever remained in our indelible black on human history that apartheid crime ever occurred. Future generations will surely ask, what error was made that this system established itself in the wake of the creation of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights? Is it will forever remain an accusation and challenge for all men and women of conscience that it took as long as it took for someone to say that enough is enough." The second act of violence is the lies and deception of the Israeli apartheid occupiers, unleashed to either hide their atrocity and war crimes. Apartheid Israel has adopted the gospel of deception, and that's part of its existence. The Nakba catastrophe is a case in point. While the Holocaust denialists are there and they speak about, they are the worst. They implementing this and they are continuing with this atrocity, ethnic cleansing committed at the hands of these militia. The recent released movie called Tantura tells us about the realities of and that characterize apartheid Israel occupation, and which will be ongoing well before the creation of the Zionist entity stole that land. Then Yasser was a village perched on the hill west of Jerusalem, which have become emblematic of the suffering of apartheid Israeli place on the Palestine. On the 9th of April 1948, just weeks before the creation of the apartheid Israel state, members of the Uramu Sten gang, led by the sixth Prime Minister apartheid Israel, Bengen, attacked the villages, killing at least 107 Palestinians. According to testimonies from the perpetrators and surviving victims, many of the people were slaughtered, from those who were tied to trees, burned to death, to those lined up against the walls and shot by machine guns, were women, children, and elderly, similar to what happened now. One picture portrays the gruesome image of an elderly couple with their hands tied behind their backs. As the news of these atrocities spread throughout, thousands fled their villages in fear. More than 700,000 Palestinians fled or was forcibly displaced from the outset. And that was the beginning of the Nakba and the outset of the Israeli creation. According to the Israeli narrative, aimed at breaking through the blockade road of Jerusalem, and the fighters encountered stiff resistance from villagers and were forced to advance slowly from house to house. They threw hand grenades into homes and then gunned down anyone that survived. But Palestine and some Israeli historians say the villagers have signed a non-aggression agreement with the Hagar, the pre-Israeli state of Zionist army. They were nevertheless murdered in cold blood and buried in mass graves. Israeli history historian Ben Forrest said the militia ransacked unscrupulous, stole money and jewels from survivors and burned their bodies. Now, I focused on the past, but I think this is a reminder of the 75 years of committing war crimes by the apartheid Israeli state. It is critical, therefore, when we address the issue of breaking the cycle of violence, to understand this violence is ongoing and a warfare that props up this apartheid state. 4 wars of Gaza, including the 2 intifadas, the 2 wars in Lebanon, including the massacre of Sabra, Sakila, and ongoing bombing of Iraq and Syria, all points to the reality that the apartheid Israel is a military state that systematically occupies Palestine and continues to illegally expand its settlement on Palestinian land. This is a tragedy of mammoth proportion for which apartheid Israel must be held accountable. We therefore must continue to keep the issues alive on this multilateral forums, mobilize public opinions across the globe as we have witnessed in every city. We had a recent march of almost 250,000